What is up, guys? Mr. C here. Going to be doing lesson 11.2, where we're going to be talking about surface area of prisms and cylinders. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So let's go up here, look at the top picture. There's kind of a lot going on. These are called prisms. Okay, prism is a polyhedron with two congruent parallel faces. And I know there's a lot of terms there called bases. So you can see here, and I kind of mentioned in the Zoom call a little bit about prisms. Again, they have two congruent parallel faces. Like this one, this base here is congruent to this base here. They're both pentagons. So we refer to this shape as a pentagonal prism. This one over here, we have this triangle congruent to this triangle. So we refer to this one as a triangular prism. So those are the bases. And then prisms are made up of those two bases. And then depending on how many sides those bases have, they'll have that many number of lateral faces, which are these rectangular, and they're always rectangular for prisms. These rectangulars that kind of make up the center or the middle part of your prism. So this is a pentagonal prism, so it has two pentagon faces, which are the bases, and then it'll have five rectangular faces called the lateral faces for a total of 7 faces. This one has 2 triangular bases and then 3 rectangular faces, so that's a total of 5. All right. So again, prisms are made up of 2 bases, and then depending on how many sides those have, you'll have that many lateral rectangular faces to make up that prism. Okay. Altitude is basically just your height of the prism. It's the distance from one base to the other. Okay, that will look like here. If we're trying to find the surface area, okay, it does require the height. So here's my formula for surface areas of a prism. All right, surface area is, well, it says lateral area here. Lateral area meaning, so if I go back up, okay. Lateral area means the area of all the rectangular faces, okay? Basically the area of all the lateral faces, okay? If I'm saying surface area, it's lateral faces and the bases combined, all right? So let's take a look at how the formula is made, all right? How I'm gonna rewrite this, because I don't really like how it's kind of confusing because they use like substitution here. So if we're trying to find the surface area, to simplify things for us, it's the perimeter times height plus 2b. Now this 2b is a little confusing because it's 2. This actually represents the area of the base. So let me write down what everything represents. P is the perimeter. Of the base, right? H is the height of the prism, or the altitude, and this big B actually stands for the area of the base. Okay, area of the base of the prism, all right? And that makes up my surface area formula for prisms. And again, surface area is basically finding the area of every face of your prism, all right? So let's go ahead and do an example. Finding surface area for a prism. Okay. This again, let's see, we have triangles for our bases. So this is referred to as a triangular prism. We need the perimeter of the base, we need the height of the prism, and we need the area of the base. Right? So let's first find perimeter. Again, perimeter of the base. Okay, and it doesn't matter since both of the bases are congruent. I can find the perimeter of either base. Right. This is 3 here. This is 4. That's a total of 7, but I don't have this length here. However, you can find it since this is a right triangle. You can find that third side by doing Pythagorean's theorem. So if we do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared, it ain't 9 plus 16 equals c squared. That's a 25 equals c squared, or square root both sides, 5 is equal to c, right? So that means this distance here, that is 5 centimeters, right? Which makes the perimeter 3 plus 4 was 7, plus another 5. Perimeter should be 12 centimeters, all right? So next we need h. Remember, that represents the height of the prism, which is given to us already, the distance from one base to the other. That's 6 centimeters. And then big B, or capital B, represents the area of the base, right? So if we're trying to find the area of this triangle, the 1/2 base times height, but that's a little confusing because we're already using height. Don't confuse this height here with the height of the base, right? We're trying to find the area of this triangle, okay, this 2D triangle. So that should be 1/2 of 3 times 4. 1/2 of 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Divide that by 2. This should be 6 centimeters squared for the area of the base. So let's go ahead and figure it out. Remember, I said surface area is pH. I'll just write the formula again. pH plus 2b. So plugging in our numbers, we have the perimeter is 12 times 6 plus 2 times 6. 12 times 6 is a, was that 72? Plus 2 times 6 is a 12. That's going to give me a total of 84 centimeters. And since it is an area, that is going to be squared. Okay, 84 centimeters squared for that prism. Okay, so that's pretty much how we're going to do all of these prism problems. The only difference between each problem is the base. Okay, every base might not be a triangle. You might have a square prism or a rectangular prism. You might be given a pentagonal prism or a hexagonal prism. The only difference comes in finding the area of that base, depending on what the base is. Okay, this was a triangle, so we used 1/2 base times height. If it's a pentagon, you have to remember from last chapter, go back, and how to find the area of a pentagon. That used the, remember that term, the apophthegm, is 1/2 AP, I believe, 1/2 the apophthegm times the perimeter. So depending on what the shape is, you need to find the area of that base, and it's going to be different depending on the shape. So we're going to quit there for the day. If you'd like to try, go ahead and try the homework. For right now, that's fine. If not, you can continue on with us. We're going to go ahead and continue on and do cylinders. All right. So here's cylinders. Cylinders you guys have seen before, made up of 2 circles. All right. And then we have the height. All right. So it's like 2 circle bases connected by a height. Similar to a prism, except the bases are circles rather than some kind of polygon. All right. So I know there's like a lot going on here in the formulas. Okay. That's the one we're going to use. 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. All right. If you're wondering what is this lateral area, like what does that mean? Okay. Lateral area is basically the area not including these bases. I can't remember if I mentioned that earlier. So if I don't consider these 2 circles, okay, and I just want to find the area of the outside, think about what this would look like. Like, what shape is this? Imagine you had a, I'm going to use Clorox because we see those all the time right now. Imagine you had a Clorox cylinder container, okay, one of those Clorox wipe containers. If you were to unravel that, the label or the wrapper around it, it's basically a rectangle that's wrapped around that cylinder to make that label, right? Okay, that's kind of what the lateral area of a cylinder would be. It's that label. If you were to unwrap that, that rectangle represents the lateral area. Okay, so let's go ahead and try one of these for surface area. I'm not really going to ask lateral area questions very often. I'm pretty much just going to stick to what's the surface area. So we're going to use this formula here. So find the surface area for this one. All right. 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. This is pretty straightforward because everything's pretty much already given to us. Let's identify what is r. Okay. And notice that this is 10. Remember, that's the diameter. So we need to be using 5 meters for the radius. Height is the height from one circle to the other, or distance. It's 12 meters. And really, cylinders are a little bit easier. That's all we need. 5 meters and 12 meters. Let's go ahead and plug that into our formula. Surface area is 2 pi times 5 times 12 plus 2 times pi times 5 squared. Okay, so we're going to use our calculator to find that. What is 2 pi times 5 times 12? Okay, I have a 376.99. We'll just say that's a 377. Okay, plus what is 2 pi r squared? 5 times 5 is 25 times 2 times pi. Gives me a 157.1. Okay, if we add that to 377, is it 377? Okay, plus 377 gives me a 534.1. 534.1, and that was in meters. So meters squared for that cylinder. All right. So that was prisms, that was cylinders. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Peace.